Aren't you a little short for a stormtrooper?
Up, nerds? Welcome to another episode of the Multiverse Report. We are recapping the week's nerdy news from Will Smith's hand to Chris Rock's face and everywhere in between. Unless you've been living under a rock today, you definitely know what I mean by that. A Chris Rock. If you watch the Oscars, you definitely know what I'm talking about. I did watch the Oscars, which is why we did not record last night. We are recording on a Monday night for you, but thank you for letting us bump it to Monday so I could watch the Oscars. And who am I? Mike Gibson, one of your co-hosts on the Multiverse Report. With me, as always, is Steve Haller, who I don't think watched the Oscars. But what's up, Steve?
I instead watched the U.S. men's national team. So,
oh, there you go. Awesome.
Yeah, soccer, Oscars, slightly different, but either way, I think a lot happened last night, and some of it happened on the post red carpet. That wasn't involving Will Smith and Chris Rock.
Yeah, a lot of reasons to think that last night's Oscar ceremony was terrible. A lot of obvious reasons, I guess. Some more casual movie fans may not realize that a big reason to have not enjoyed this year's Oscars was that a lot of the behind the camera categories, or as some people would refer to them, lesser categories, were awarded before the ceremony started and not televised, or some of them were actually, it seemed like the acceptance speeches were just played later during the actual broadcast, but not shown live. Like, what are you saving? Like 30 seconds of time when people walk down an aisle? Like, come on, this is dumb. Just show them all.
And they started doing that a while ago, didn't they? For very obscure. It was only a handful of them before, and it drastically increased this year compared to past years.
Yeah, and it's it was definitely some kind of far below the line categories that they have always done, or at least had done for a long time. But this was sound and editing and score. Hans Zimmer won an Oscar and nobody saw it.
No, he apparently got woken up at 2 a.m. by his daughter.
Yes, yeah, because he wasn't even there, because he wasn't going to be on TV, because he wasn't really part of the ceremony. But Hans Zimmer is one of our greatest living composers, and he won an Oscar, and probably nobody knows for his score for Dune. And one of the reasons we're talking about the Oscars is that there is a little bit of nerdy relevance here. Good old Dune won 6 awards last night. It won for sound, it won for editing, it won for score, it won for cinematography, which is a huge one. It won for production design, and I wrote down cinematography twice, so it's throwing me off. And visual effects. In the visual effects category, it beat out Spider-Man No Way Home, a movie that a lot of people were saying should have been nominated for Best Picture. I think that's a little crazy.
I get where people are coming from, just because of the popularity of films like that and the stuff like that in general. But historically, the Oscars have been more about the art of film, more so than what's popular at the theater. And in that case, Spider-Man No Way Home was the most successful film of getting close to all time, and at the same time, it's it was just a popcorn movie. There was no it was a very well done popcorn movie, and it was probably my favorite movie I saw last year, even though I saw it as I did. But it's not the same. It's not the same.
It's not the same. I know, and I know a lot of people would be mad at us for saying that, but I don't know. We were just talking right before we started recording. I see a difference between a movie like Power of the Dog and a movie like Spider-Man No Way Home. One's a big effects heavy popcorn fun thrilling ride, and the other is my phone's going off. Excuse me. And the other is made with a different kind of craft. Yeah. And the Oscars is not here to honor superheroes necessarily, and not that it never does. But when the popcorn elements and the craft artsy elements combine, you get a movie like The Dark Knight, where Heath Ledger wins for 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 Best Supporting Actor. You get a movie like Black Panther that gets nominated for Best Picture. You get a movie like Joker that's nominated for Best Picture.
Yeah.
And Joaquin Phoenix wins. So there's not it's not impossible.
No.
Have there been snubs? Of course, yeah. Right. Logan, I think, should have been nominated for a lot of different stuff. But the MCU is not going to start raking in Oscars anytime soon just because they're bringing back characters that you really love. That doesn't translate to everybody in the world.
No, it's going to be the same. I mean, arguably, it's going to be the same thing that Star Wars for years, where you have some of the most visual masterpiece films out there for the time, and that's what they win for. Like, nobody is going to say that Star Wars was the best picture of 1977.
Although it was nominated for Best Picture, I believe.
Oh, I did not know that.
Was it? I think it was, but Rocky beat it. I think Rocky beat it for Best Picture.
And that was coming off of Jaws.
But again, at that time, Star Wars was something that had never been seen before.
Right.
And I think technical brilliance is something that can get you that recognition in the Oscar world.
Yeah.
But Spider-Man No Way Home, it's not like it created new visuals or whatever that we hadn't seen. It looked like an MCU movie, and we've seen 25 of those, So I mean, no shade to Spider-Man No Way Home. I love that movie, but I completely understand why it wasn't nominated for Best Picture. And honestly, I understand why Dune beat it for visual effects, because
that was a beautiful movie.
Yeah, and it goes along with the cinematography and the way it was shot. But I just said, Spider-Man No Way Home looked like an MCU movie. MCU movies have a look and they have a style, and they have a style for their visual effects too. And there are visual effects that kind of still look fake, even if they're so good. It's I'm trying to think of how to describe it. A lot of superhero movie, and not just the MCU, DCU stuff too, or whatever.
Oh yeah,
a lot of superhero movies, they have a style to their visual effects that looks like acceptable cartoon. Yes, I gotta say.
Yeah, there's still an uncanny valley in a lot of that weird visual effects thing. It's not just when they're trying to recreate or de-age someone. It's certain things that they're CGIing. You can always tell that that's going to be that's not a practical effect.
Yeah, especially in a Spider-Man movie, I don't for one second think that Tom Holland is actually swinging from the top of the Statue of Liberty.
Whoa, hold on. That is spoiler alert here. He's not. Andrew Garfield isn't flying after him.
Right, yeah, and he's not breaking into the top of the Washington Monument either, and he's not, fighting on the Tower or London Bridge.
Right.
That's a cartoon that you're watching. You're watching a cartoon.
A really, really pretty cartoon, but it's a cartoon.
And it's a super fun cartoon to watch, but it's not. I can tell that it's fake by looking at it. But effects like the ones in Dune are done in a way that match the cinematography and match the look and feel of the movie and look more real than a lot of superhero stuff. And sorry if anyone's mad that I'm saying that, but that's how I feel.
No, and it is crazy to think the ties to look at just Best Supporting or Best Actor. You had Deadshot, Spider-Man, Doctor Strange nominated. And for some reason, I want to say Javier Bardem plays in something, but I can't remember what.
He was a Bond villain.
True.
I don't think he's been in a straight-up superhero movie, though.
Maybe...
Is he going to be? Is he going to be? He was going to be in... Wasn't he going to be the Frankenstein monster in the Dark Universe when Universal was trying to do a Marvel-styled universe with their monsters that got nowhere because they made a really terrible movie with Tom Cruise?
That doesn't surprise me if it did happen. Oh, you know what? I was thinking of him actually being in Dune, which is not what he got nominated for that for.
Oh, that's right. I forgot that he was in Dune.
Yeah, he was Stilgar. So, he had a great year, I guess.
Yeah. Aquaman is also in Dune, as is MJ.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
As is Oscar Isaac. Moon Knight.
Yeah, as is Moon Knight and Poe Dameron.
Hence, if you're watching live, the current title of our live cast is the Oscars, including Isaac, because I had to.
Oh, funny. Clever. Anyway, that's our Oscar recap. A bunch of other crazy stuff happened. You can read about all of it if you want, or just not care because you don't have to care. It's not mandatory.
Because somehow we've already got 10 minutes on the Oscars.
Yeah,
I didn't even watch them.
I thought that was going to be 30 seconds. We ended up talking about Dune and visual effects for way too long. Anyway.
Well, I think a lot of it might have been to not talk about this next thing we're going to have to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we're going to talk about this too much, really. It'd probably blend into the second topic here, but we got some early... I haven't read any of these. They're early reviews. There was a screening of Morbius the Living Vampire in the UK this past week, and the early reactions from it are bad.
And not like mediocre, like bad.
Like negative. Calling the post-credit scene the worst ever post-credit scene is the one thing that I read. I don't know what it is. I don't know anything about it.
I don't want to, really. Yeah, I kept that one at length, but I did read some of the early, the spoiler-free review type things. And the biggest thing was just I guarantee it got, and with it being delayed multiple times, it got chopped on the editing room floor. But at the same time, I've heard a lot of things where even good editing could not have saved this movie. So I'm really looking forward to that on the same vein I was for Venom Let There Be Carnage.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of I don't know. I'm not I was never super sold on it, but I did think the trailers looked way better than I expected. So
yes,
I'm not completely down on it. Maybe it comes out Friday. Doesn't it come out this Friday?
4th, next Friday.
Oh, next Friday. Okay.
No. Yeah, maybe it is this Friday. I can't remember. It got bumped so many times. I can't even tell
this Friday's the
1st.
This Friday's April 1st. I think it's either this Friday or next Friday. But anyway.
Well, if it's this Friday, April 1st, it'd be fitting.
Yeah. Well, maybe once it's out, I'll read some more reviews or something. But I don't know. It's not like I'm holding out hope. But I guess I'm curious as to if it's really that bad, why did they bother moving it again? Why not just get it out in January?
Let it sit in January and do its thing.
Yeah. Well, when people are still high on Spider-Man No Way Home and they want more Spider-Man related content, put it there. Just let it die in January and soak up. I feel like now it has less of a chance of capitalizing. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So anyway, I guess we'll see what happens with that movie and how it affects Sony's universe of Spider-Man, whatever characters, Spider-Man adjacent characters. But moving into a story that we meant to talk about last week, and somehow I just mistakenly left it off our rundown. Breakout star from the HBO drama Euphoria, which I've heard incredible things about, and I haven't started watching it, but I need to. Breakout star from Euphoria, Sydney Sweeney, has been cast in Sony's Madam Webb movie. This is a movie that we talked about recently when it cast... I'm blanking on her name. Why don't I call up all the information? Why don't I write down all the information that I need? Dakota Johnson has been cast as Madam Webb, which we thought was strange because Madam Webb is typically portrayed as being an elderly woman, whereas Dakota Johnson is not, and neither is Sydney Sweeney. So we're not really sure what's going on. There's been no confirmation of who Dakota Johnson is really playing. There's been no confirmation of who Sydney Sweeney is playing. People are thinking Dakota Johnson might be Julia Carpenter, a younger version of Madam Webb, also like a Spider-Girl character. I've heard that Sydney Sweeney, I've heard the only rumor I heard, and this was just someone online saying, Let me just say it over and over again. Someone online saying that they heard rumors about her being cast as Black Cat. Also heard rumors of her being cast as Gwen Stacy, aka Spider-Gwen, Spider-Woman, from a different reality. And I mean, Madam Webb is somebody that kind of is very much in touch with the multiverse. So I think that's a possibility.
Right.
If they wanted to bring in a live action Spider-Gwen, then that's great. I think she looks the part. I could see her in either one of those roles. But Steve, does this? I mean, we don't know who she's playing, but let's revisit real quick. What are your thoughts on the Madam Webb movie?
Well, judging by what my thoughts were on the previous movie discussed regarding a certain living vampire, and all of our takes on whatever Craven is going to be. My hopes for Madam Web are somewhere down in the basement.
Yeah,
I was kind of hoping that when you mentioned Dakota Johnson and started talking about a younger version and all that, and I was like, maybe they just accidentally were going to make a Spider-Gwen or a Silk movie and just kept throwing Madam Web out there on accident because it's Sony and that's what they could do. But no, how they could make a whole movie out of the Madam Web character, like there's plenty of stuff out there, but at the same time, like, how do you make a compelling movie out of that without including Spider-Man or anything adjacent to, like, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah. First, I gotta say, you said you might be able to guess based on my reaction to the previous movie discussed. I thought you meant based on my reaction to the previous movie, disgust, like D-I-S-G-U-S-T.
I mean, either accurately works.
Disgusted with Morbius. Okay. Honestly, of this very moment, when I was making this rundown, I had a thought where I was like, I actually am kind of maybe more looking forward to this movie because it is, I feel, a step further removed from Spider-Man than Venom, than Morbius, than Craven, that are directly tied to him as villains. Madam Web is like an ally, but kind of sometimes, and kind of, works in her own world or controls her own world related to the multiverse or whatever. So I feel like there's maybe more. I guess I know less about it. Yep. So therefore my expectations are zero. Not that they're low. I just don't have any because I don't know what to expect at all. So I kind of am going to try to just keep going forward with this. It's just like, all right, maybe this will be great because I don't, I mean, it's not like walking to see Venom with my expectations of it being, something that it just drastically isn't.
Right. Well, it's weird.
So I guess we'll see.
Yeah. The strange thing is, like you're talking, it is removed enough that if you had told me Sony Animation was doing this, or if you'd have told me that Feige was doing this, I'd be like, all right, weird, but where are they taking it? But it's I think half of my problem is just the current track record with what Sony has been throwing at us the last couple of years.
Yeah, I know. And it's not like they've never made a good Spider-Man movie.
Right.
They've made several good Spider-Man movies.
We saw pieces of them this December.
Yeah.
But
they've got it in them somewhere, but I guess we'll just have to see where it goes and what happens as we get more and more news about it.
Yeah.
So interesting. Moving from Marvel adjacent to Marvel, talking about the MCU, we learned this week that there is finally, after many years of expecting this announcement, the writer of Moon Knight, Sabir Pirzada, has been tasked to develop a Nova-related project for the MCU. There's currently no other details, but Kevin Feige said in the past that his preferred version of Nova for the MCU would be the Richard Rider version of the character. Steve, do you want to give like a quick rundown of who Nova is, or what we should expect from it, or what Nova might be as a film?
Yeah, expect it heavily tied to the intergalactic, means and methods of our favorite Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes.
So
yes, the Nova core,
right,
which is we see in the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie, which is referenced heavily in other MCU other Guardians movies, but they also talk about the destruction of the Nova core. Didn't Thanos like lay them to waste? Don't they say that in Infinity War or something?
Yeah, pretty much.
I don't know, but I'm sure there's still a couple out there. I'm sorry, you can go ahead.
No, weirdly enough, I've read a lot of Nova adjacent type. I think you've done that a couple times before, where it's like, I'm excited about this character, but I've never actually read like a Nova story. It's always been like him with stuff or him in stuff. But I know he was like a human that was imbued with the power of the Nova Corps, basically, of like a dying member of the Nova Corps, and kind of became one of them, type thing.
Yeah, and the only power that I know of his is that he can like fly crazy fast through space.
Yeah, he's like the human rocket. Or something.
Yeah.
So
right.
He's speedy.
Yeah. So I mean, there's been for years now a lot of signs pointing to Marvel going more cosmic. This clearly could be that. Could be a wild, crazy space adventure. I'm down for that. Again, this is something like you're just saying. Like I don't have a ton of, you know, I don't have Nova as a character in my heart or anything.
Right.
My little nerd heart doesn't beat for Nova. I know who he is. I'm surprised again because they introduced the Nova Corps in Guardians of the Galaxy so long ago. When did Guardians of the Galaxy come out? Like 2013 or something?
Yeah, something like that.
Almost 10 years ago. I would have thought for sure we would have gotten a reference in that movie. I was waiting. As soon as they said Nova Corps in that movie, I was like, oh, we're going to see Nova or something. Nope, didn't happen. And I was like, well, we're going to get a post-credit scene because they talk about the Nova. Like for the next few MCU movies, I was like, where's my Nova tease? Where's my Nova? Oh, I guess they're not going to do it.
Yeah.
But now they're finally doing it. So I know that the Richard Rider character is a younger version of the Nova character, more like teenager Peter Parker-y kind of style. I think he's buddies with Peter in some other media, like cartoon versions of Spider-Man has him as like a buddy. So that'll be interesting to see. But yeah, this is kind of like because he's not in my little nerd heart. It's kind of like what we were just talking about for Madam Web. Like, yeah, sure, I'm down for a Nova movie. Give me something. I don't have like expectations to live up to with this character at all. So odds are, if they do it good, I'll love it.
I did just read something interesting in the old Wikipedias, the Marvel fandom wiki. Apparently, his powers are strong enough because he's hosting the entire Nova Force in his human body because that totally makes sense. Whatever.
Why not?
Apparently, he can fight a Herald of Galactus to a stalemate as he is faced off against Norrin Red himself, the Silver Surfer.
Wow.
So he's got that going for him.
That would be interesting. Maybe this is how we get Silver Surfer.
Oh. Mark that one down on the time. The time, we had the one a couple weeks ago about Michael B. Jordan.
So now Killmonger being in Multiverse of Madness. I am still positive that's going to happen until they tell me otherwise.
Yeah.
Listeners,
now I'm looking forward to Galactus and Silver Surfer in the Nova movie.
Yeah. Well, if you missed it a few episodes ago, Steve and I came up with a theory that Michael B. Jordan is going to be playing Black Panther, alternate universe Black Panther, as part of the Illuminati in Doctor Strange: The Multiverse of Madness. Still very much think that's going to happen. So
that'd be great.
You heard it here first, nerds. So yeah, we got Nova coming out, and I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
And we will be able to maybe judge its strength based on Moon Knight when we start watching that.
True.
This coming week.
Which that one, the opposite of what I've heard from Morbius. Everything early on that seems like it's relatively positive.
Yeah. I guess I haven't heard much. I've been kind of trying to stay away from all reviews of any kind.
Yeah, I did the same thing you did, where it was like I read the headline and that was it.
Yeah.
And all of them were like, yeah, it's pretty good. Okay, cool.
Yeah. All right. Awesome.
And I've heard unique tossed around a lot, so that's a very good thing.
Very good thing. I hope the tone of the trailers. We're going to talk about Moon Knight later in the one shots, but I hope the tone of the trailers matches the tone of the show.
Yeah,
that's all I got to say.
Absolutely.
All right, moving from Marvel.
Speaking of tone.
Woo! Moving from Marvel into DC. This is gonna be a spoilery talk for the next few minutes. I think we're gonna give ourselves 5 minutes to talk. Is that too many? Should we do 8 or 2? Let's do 8.
Sure.
Because if I know me and I know Batman, I can talk about Batman for 8 minutes. Easy.
Very true.
So
you can talk to yourself about Batman for 8 minutes.
Yes, I often have. So here's what we're gonna do. If you're watching, if you're listening on a podcast app, when we say go, if you don't want spoilers for the Batman, you're going to skip 8 minutes forward. If you don't care, or if you've seen the Batman, we're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about a deleted scene from the Batman that was released this week that features a spoiler. And I will say it's a minor spoiler for the movie in that it doesn't spoil any plot details or any twists or anything. You still go into the movie and you get a fully fleshed Batman movie. It does spoil a cameo of a certain character that does appear very briefly in the completed cut of the film. This deleted scene has that character cameo much longer. It's about 5 minutes long. So that's the rundown of what we're about to talk about. If you don't care and you haven't seen the Batman, then you can keep listening. If you want zero spoilers for the Batman, then skip ahead 8 minutes. And this is going to be interesting because Steve, you have still not seen the Batman. Am I right?
No, I have not seen the Batman, but I've been spoilered through various means, and I just gave up on trying to stay spoiler free on it. So,
and you have seen this deleted scene?
I saw about half of it, but I got the gist.
Okay. Well, here we go. If you don't want any spoilers, then skip ahead 8 minutes starting now. 8 minutes on the clock. All right, so this deleted scene features the Joker. The Joker is in the Batman. A very brief scene towards the end of the Batman as he speaks to his neighbor in the adjacent Arkham cell, which is Edward Nygma, as he gets thrown in there. Barry Kogan, I think is how you say his last name.
Kewen.
Is
you don't speak
playing the Joker.
You don't speak Irish?
I don't. So this scene was originally going to be in the movie. I talked about it in my spoiler review, where Batman is going to Joker, already imprisoned in Arkham, and asking him for information on the Riddler, information that he hopes to be able to use to like catch the Riddler.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like Hannibal Lecter, like Silence of the Lambs, Jodie Foster going to get.
Yeah, that was kind of the vibes I was getting there. Of like I haven't seen the interactions with Riddler. I haven't seen any of the interactions with any of that. But just like the way the Joker went about everything in this deleted scene seems very Lecter, like leading Batman on and just kind of, I don't know, almost playing with him without playing with him. Like,
yeah, he's definitely playing with him. And I mean, you said you already spoiled on the movie, but I guess I won't pinpoint exactly, but like something that Joker says is right and is on point. Like Joker, he like figures it out. He does figure it out immediately, but he doesn't straight up tell him like this is what he's doing or whatever. That similar to Hannibal Lecter, he's like, maybe this. I love this scene. I gotta say, I really liked the tension between the two characters. I liked the version of the Joker. The look was very different. I liked how he was shot, how he was like fuzzy and out of focus.
That was something that I was going to touch on. Is the cinematography from this was like the whole scene starts with him out of focus and slowly kind of keeps going in and out until at the end of the scene, he's there. Like you get the close-ups of his face,
but you still don't see the whole face at once. You see your top half of his face, and then you see his mouth, but you never see like a full just here I am, which I think is cool because that's another way to like he was clearly like teasing it or didn't want to give everything away, and that's kind of how it is. It's even more so in the finished version of the film. You really don't see much at all, and you're kind of like squinting because it's dark. You're like, is that the Joker? What? It's got But I gotta love how I love how these characters are so like malleable. How people can find a different interpretation of them that still feels like them.
Yeah,
both Batman and the Joker, but just keep kind of like reinventing it all the time. Dialogue I think was really cool. I liked, it's our anniversary, isn't it? Like it's kind of showing that like they've met before,
right?
And that was the intent. Matt Reeves did say that his intent to put the Joker in the movie wasn't even really to tease like, oh, the next one's going to have Joker in it, or, saying this is what's going to happen down the road. It was just basically he wanted to say that they've met before. They already have a history.
Right.
And, there is a history to Arkham. There's a history to Gotham. And like, this is a fully populated city and world already. And I get that. And I think that kind of works, but I definitely see why they cut this out of the movie. I feel like if you introduce, I don't know where this would have been in the movie, but if you're halfway through a Batman movie and all of a sudden you get the Joker out of nowhere as a surprise, all you're going to be thinking is, are we going to go back to Joker? When are we going to go back to Joker? When do I get more Joker? Is he going to break out? What's going to happen with Joker? And I definitely think it would take away from the drive and the narrative of the story that you're watching. So I'm glad that they cut it out.
And just watching the scene, it seemed like it was a very, like, it would have been a poignant scene. It would have driven the plot where, like, sent something where it needed to be. but yeah, 5 minutes of exposition with Batman and the Joker in a movie that's the only time you'd see him would be very, very awkward.
Yeah. And,
or I guess, yeah, like you said, set your expectations completely differently than where they needed to be.
Yeah, for sure. They want you keep you focused on Riddler and that mystery and everything that's going on there. Like, it just would have been it would have been introducing a new thread that doesn't really pay off. And, we're already talking about a 3-hour movie here.
Yeah.
Honestly, Matt Reeves said that when he cut this scene, he almost cut the other one, and I can see that. I feel like the scene that's there almost would have been better if it was like a mid-credit scene or a post-credit scene or something.
Oh, okay. It wasn't. I thought it was.
No,
it was just at the end of the movie. Gotcha.
Yeah, it's just at the end of the movie. But I think it would have been better if it was like that. And because you knew at that point the movie was wrapped up, but still it was just like a little bit of like, whoa, are we going over here? Okay, no, we're just gonna go back, wrap up now.
Right.
But anyway, I think I don't know. I liked it. It was good. Watch it. If you haven't watched it, it's on YouTube. It's all over the place. If you haven't seen it, it made me want to see the movie again because the tone immediately reminded me. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot how intense this movie was the whole time.
Okay, I was going to say that was a question I was going to have was does that fit the feel of the rest of the movie? So.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. I just felt, and as soon as it started, I was like, oh yeah, I remember how great this is. Yeah.
Right, and that would have been, I guess, like you said, that would have been what Reeves was intending of a great introduction that Batman's been doing this for a year or two at this point, and this isn't his first rodeo, and like Joker's already in Arkham, everything's going on, but at the same time, you see that, and like you mentioned, your brain immediately goes to, well, when's he getting out, and when are we going to see him?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, or he's going to be in the sequel, right? But then that like pins what maybe Matt Reeves doesn't want to put the Joker in the sequel. He hasn't written that movie yet, so he doesn't know.
Yeah, and right now he's in Arkham. He might just stay there.
Exactly. But then now we know we're getting an Arkham TV show. So does this mean we're going to see Barry as the Joker in the Arkham TV show? Are we going to see Paul Dano? Probably not either of those because they're big actors. I really like him as an actor. I think he did a great job. I think he looked crazy. Like the mouth almost looked like it had too many teeth in it, and he was kind of like the skin was all like kind of weird and
it was a different take
head
on it.
And stuff. Yeah,
compared to like the standard Glasgow smile, like that's it.
Yeah, I'm always down for a new take. Like I feel like if you're into comic books, you got to be okay with new takes all the time, especially in like in like the DC. It's kind of like built in that you're going to get. Because they never really got the connected thing off the ground, so it's okay. If Marvel just did a spin-off gritty Iron Man movie, I feel like no one would accept that because they're so like got to be all in the same continuity. You can't do this. And I was just like, nah, we're gonna make a Batman movie over here, and it's gonna be different and wild and crazy and a different Joker. So there you go. And everyone's like, yeah, awesome, sounds good.
No, that's it. It made me want to watch the movie. And I think that's good. I think it's actually coming to HBO this month, right? Well, next month technically, but this month.
April 14th, 16th, something like that.
Yeah, so it won't be too long. It's not like waiting for any of the others.
Yep. And we're done with our 8 minutes. There's the clock.
That was surprisingly good timing.
It was very good timing, and I realized I was like, wait, he doesn't know how much time we have left because I have the timer, not like he can see it. But it seemed like he wrapped up just then. The only thing I want to say, which is not a spoiler, is that yes, the Batman is on HBO Max in a few weeks, in April 16th, 14th, something around there. I don't know, but I'm dying to see it again, and I can't wait. I will definitely watch it as soon as possible. So thanks for letting us talk about some spoiler stuff. For those of you that are still with us or skipped ahead, welcome back. We're moving into a bit of a miscellaneous universe. We're going to talk about Doctor Who, something we don't talk about too often because there's not often too much news, except we know that Russell T Davies is returning to the show for its 60th anniversary after Jodie Whittaker retires from the role at the end of this upcoming season. And the rumor that has been floated around the UK is that Hugh Grant is in talks to be the next Doctor on the next season of Doctor Who, which seems crazy. Russell T Davies also has, I guess, apparently wants to turn the show Doctor Who into a quote Marvel style franchise, unquote, with like spin-offs about other characters, secondary characters, things like that. Now, first, the whole spin-off thing is something they've tried before. They have done spin-off Doctor Who shows. They have never seemed to really last that long because maybe they're not given the budget that they deserve, or they're not promoted, or they're just not that great. I don't know. But Doctor Who seems to be still going strong, while spin-offs, Torchwood and the like, haven't really taken off. So interesting that they're going to try that again. I mean, it makes sense that they would try to like make spin-off shows from one of the most successful shows ever. It's been on for 60 years. I was
going to say
60th anniversary.
Been going on for a bit.
So it's kind of crazy that there hasn't been a successful spin-off, really. But Hugh Grant. Let's talk about Hugh Grant. Steve, do you have any bird's eye view thoughts on Hugh Grant in general? I know you're not a huge Doctor Who guy. But
no, I think I watched. I watched a good bit of the Tennant run.
Oh, good. He's my favorite.
And that was it. Like somehow it was like, because weirdly enough, it was when I was living in Alaska, and the family I was staying with, like one of the members of the family was obsessed with Doctor Who, and it was at the time that the 10th Doctor was on, and it was like, okay, this is a thing, cool.
Yeah.
Watched through a bunch of it. Was really good. Never got back around to it. So I figured every time I've tried to get back into it, I'm like, I've got too much other shit that I watch.
Yeah, I know. It's a task. I just learned something new about you. I didn't know you lived in Alaska.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Yeah. Did 3/4 of a year up there.
Wow.
Walked around the woods with a backpack. It was great.
Wow, nice. Cool. Anyway, so wait, bird's eye view thoughts on Hugh Grant? Is what I asked you.
Doctor Who isn't a rom-com, so I really don't know how it's going to fit.
Yeah. It's not. I think he's a good actor, and I think I've seen him in enough stuff that's like mildly comedic, like even a rom-com, that I feel like he could pull off a bit of the aloofness of a good Doctor Who. Certainly would be different than David Tennant, but that's the whole thing. Like each Doctor is different, right? So I can weirdly see him in this role. When I first read it, I was like, "What, Hugh Grant?" And I think the reaction was just that I don't think they've ever cast somebody that is as well known as Hugh Grant. Like David Tennant wasn't a nobody when he got the role. Neither was Christopher Eccleston when he was the Doctor before David Tennant, and neither was Peter Capaldi when he took over for Matt Smith. So,
right.
But Hugh Grant is like a big celebrity. I don't think that any of those people that I just mentioned were as known in this country as Hugh Grant is known in this country. He's a, I don't know, would you call him an A-lister? B+ lister, at least.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. There was definitely an era where he would have been an A-lister. But yeah, I'd say he's on the fringe at this point.
Yeah, I'd say he's B to B+ lister. But he is a great actor, and he's in Paddington 2, which is a really, really great movie. So that alone gives me a vote of confidence for him to be the next Doctor. So I don't know. I guess we'll see if this pans out. He's a big star, so who knows if he wants to tie himself down to a series. But also could be huge for him if it's good. So yeah, we will, I guess, have to wait and see what's going to happen. I feel like when they do announce, it's always like a big show. It's like the next Doctor's gonna be. They make a whole like production out of it. So I'm sure we will find out if they end up going with Hugh Grant or somebody else that we've never heard of before. I guess it would be cool if they did like a big celebrity for once in the title role. But
yeah, I mean, and I guess that's the other thing with Doctor Who is if it's not working, then they can just reboot it and cast a new Doctor. Like
regenerate this guy, get him out of there, get some renew in.
All right, new blood, new companion, problem solved.
Exactly.
But other random tie that I did not realize until recently, from reading those Morbius reviews, the 11th Doctor himself, Matt Smith, or was he the 12th Doctor? Whatever.
No, Matt Smith was 11. Yeah. Took over for 10.
He is the villain in Morbius.
That's right. I guess I didn't know he was a villain. I remember reading that he was in it. I didn't know he was the villain.
And I've heard he actually kills it. So
he's a great actor. I think since he left Doctor Who, I think he's made some choices that seemed solid but turned out to not be. Like he was in a Terminator movie.
Yep.
And he's in Morbius. So
apparently, like I said, the thing I saw was basically the movie sucks. Matt Smith is awesome in it. So
yeah, he's a great actor.
At least look forward to that.
Yeah. All right, moving into some comics. We got a trailer. I love when they make trailers for comics. They so seldom do it, but we got a trailer or a preview, if you want to call it, for Batman Beyond the White Knight series. We talked about this a while ago when it was announced. Sean Gordon Murphy's latest installment in his White Knight series is being referred to as a sci-fi thriller. After the first one was kind of more like a political thriller, and the second one was like a historical thriller. Now he's calling this a sci-fi thriller. Introducing his own version of the Terry McGinnis Batman Beyond character. Super cool. He addressed the fact that when he went to redesign the Batman Beyond character, he realized that the costume was just so cool and so perfect. He couldn't bring himself to change it at all. So it's pretty much the exact same classic Batman Beyond costume that we've seen. And he never really makes huge changes to the costumes and characters, but, minor ones and little aesthetic things to give it a new life, a new feel, and his own kind of universe, because he is the artist and the writer of these series. Mm-hmm. And I agree with him. That Batman Beyond costume is pretty perfect. It's sleek, it's simple, and not much you can do with it to make it better.
If anyone can't put their brain on what the Batman Beyond suit looks like, think Black Panther meets Batman with wings that pop out of the suit.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. I always think it's Spider-Man because there's no cape.
Yeah.
But, okay. But yeah, I can see. Yeah, Black Panther for sure. It's good. Black Panther, big red bat.
Yep.
On the front. Yeah.
Really so cool. Dare I say, and it's because I'm not a Batman stalwart, but probably the best Batman costume, even over the classics.
Yeah, I know it is pretty great.
Oh, and actually, that I never put the connection between for the Batman utilizing the red bat for all the marketing.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think that was a nod to Batman Beyond, but I do really like that they used that bright red color in all the marketing, because you've never seen it before. It was like, oh, this is going to be different because it looks different.
Yep. Well, that's what I was thinking, was that's the only place I've ever seen a non stock, of the main options for Batman, of the yellow black, or the flipped. Yeah, black or yellow. Yep. Some kind of variation of those two colors. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So I don't know. I'm super excited about this. I don't remember when it's coming out, but talks about there being kind of like a civil war going on in Gotham City between the police force and the people and the superheroes. And so I don't know. Sounds cool. I'm excited. I love a Batman Beyond, so I'm down. We also got another announcement for DC this week about a new Poison Ivy miniseries coming from writer G. Willow Wilson and Marcio Takara on art. It's being described as a 6-issue Black Label, I believe, miniseries that includes a lot of plant-based body horror, which I think is pretty awesome, considering Poison Ivy is a villain and her powers to, I don't know, tear people apart or have plants grow out of wherever she wants, really. So that could be some gross stuff. Also going to include a serious romance with Harley Quinn. Love it. And it says climate change is front and center as a theme in the series. And of course, which fits with her character.
Fits with her character. She's been written kind of more of like a environmental activist or eco-terrorist, I guess, in recent years, which I think suits her character more than just a bank robbing Batman villain, with plant powers. She said, G. Will Wilson said it's partly inspired by the movie Annihilation, another Oscar Isaac joint, starring Natalie Portman and Oscar Isaac. Have you ever seen Annihilation?
Nope.
Oh, dude. It's great. Alex Garland is the guy that did Ex Machina. Okay. And there's one other that I'm thinking of that's great that I can't think of. I don't know. He's a great filmmaker. It's really, really good. Annihilation is there's this weird bubble. They call it a shimmer, like a force field kind of in the Everglades. And Natalie Portman and their team of female scientists have to go in to figure out, because they have sent a team of male scientists in and they never came out. and one of those male scientists was Natalie Portman's husband, and so her and another team are going in to figure out what happened, and it's following them in, and there is how the shimmer or this weird bubble is affecting the plant life and the animals and stuff is very interesting, and there are plant body things that happen. It's great. I highly recommend it, especially to you, someone that's like environmental. You would think it was very interesting.
Nice.
I think. I mean, it's fiction,
right?
Science fiction, 100%, and it's pretty intense, but it is great. Highly recommend.
I might have to look into that. Was 28 Days Later what you were thinking of?
No.
He wrote 28 Days Later, apparently.
Did he really?
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. Danny Boyle directed it, but he wrote it.
No, it would have been, I think it was after Ex Machina. What did he do after Ex Machina?
Dread.
Whoa,
no.
He did Dread?
Yep.
Really?
He wrote Dread and produced it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he didn't direct Dread.
That movie's great. Have
Annihilation
you seen Dread?
and Men. Yeah. The was that the one with Karl Urban?
Yeah.
Yep.
That movie's great.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, no, Men is a new one he's got coming out. That must have been what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
Because that looks pretty terrifying as well.
Yeah, that's coming out this year.
Yeah. So anyway, watch Annihilation, and also pick up this Poison Ivy miniseries as it comes out June 7th from DC Comics. Other comics coming out this week: Amazing Spider-Man number 93, Aquaman number 2, Captain Marvel 37, DC vs. Vampires number 6, Hulk number 5, Immortal X-Men number 1, Iron Fist number 2, Miles Morales Spider-Man number 36, Radiant Black number 13, Rise of Dracula number 4, Something is Killing the Children returns with issue number 21, Spider-Woman 21, Swamp Thing 11, and Usagi Yojimbo Lone Goat and Kid number 3. Lots of good stuff coming out this week, plus many, 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 many more books. So check out your local comic book store, ladies and gentlemen.
I did today.
You did? What'd you get? Did you pick up anything good?
No, I actually ended up picking up a copy of Star Wars The Halcyon Legacy solely for the fact that my son went with me, and literally his first time in a comic shop. Wow. We spent, 10 minutes of me having to tell him what every Funko Pop was and not allowing me to move from that section. He's like, who's this? Yep. And this and this. I'm like, oh boy, here we go. But yeah, we walked back to the I don't know if you know how Comic Zone's set up, but standard back wall.
Yep.
Of course, on the 4-year-old level was the second printing of Star Wars Halcyon Legacy, and it had a giant Wookiee Jedi on the front of it, and he was like, nice. Can we buy that one? I was like, yeah, we're not gonna let you see the inside of that, but we'll buy it.
Yeah, my son picks out a lot of cool books that I'm not able to buy for him.
Yeah.
And it goes, we haven't mentioned this. We have mentioned this on the show before, but not in a while, that Marvel, DC, whether it's movies, whether it's TV shows, I guess TV shows are doing okay, but comics, movies, make more stuff for little kids.
Yeah.
There's an audience there. Make them. You'll make money. You'll make money. I bought 12 issues of Batman and Scooby-Doo Mysteries because my kid could read it and loved it.
Well, that's if Sebastian was older, the Star Wars Adventures, that whole line from IDW, it's a great late, probably 10s through early teens type reader. It's fun. Yeah. It's just there. It's not anything over the top. It's not anything crazy graphic. It's just okay, this is cool.
Yeah, but gotta wait. Not there yet.
Yep.
Bummer. All right, moving on into some one-shots. I'm realizing that I did not organize these in a way that I wanted to. I'm going to do it right now, real quick, while I'm talking.
On the fly.
On the fly.
Well.
All right, I'm good to go. Steve, you want to kick us off with some video game news and our first one-shot of the week?
Sure, why not? In standard news, it seems like what we talk about half the time this year, something is getting moved to later in the calendar year. And in this case, to the next calendar year. Suicide Squad versus the Justice League, which we had both talked up as a game we want to see and would be a lot of fun, will now officially be 2023.
Yep. This marks my two most anticipated video games, this and Gotham Knights, being delayed until next year.
Yep.
Super bummer. I do have a PS5, but I only got one game for it, and I got it so I could play these two. But like I say, the Guardians of the Galaxy game is very fun.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very fun.
Oh yeah, you had Spidey before. That's why I was like,
yes.
It's like, why didn't you buy that? Oh yeah, you actually owned a PS4 and could play them in time. I always forget that I was like years late on that.
Yeah. But anyway, that's a bummer. But speaking of Gotham Knights, some news on a different Gotham Knights, not the video game, but the CW series that is still being cast. We had some news on that a couple weeks ago. And more interesting casting. I know we talked about Carrie Kelly, Robin getting cast. We talked about Bluebird getting cast and her brother Cullen. Now we're talking about Anna Lore being cast as Stephanie Brown, or spoiler, and Misha Collins from Supernatural being cast as Harvey Dent. Crazy. I love Stephanie Brown, spoiler, as a character. She introduced in the 90s. Picked up her own costume to become the vigilante spoiler. Also a love interest for Tim Drake. No. I mean, he came out as bisexual. He's dating somebody else, but I recently they have been kind of paired up, I think, as well. And she was Robin for a little bit, and she was Batgirl for a little bit in the New 52. So Stephanie Brown's been around for a long time. I'm excited that they're bringing her to live action for sure. Misha Collins, Harvey Dent. We've obviously seen Harvey Dent a few different times, and apparently they're teasing the fact that he will eventually become Two-Face, and this is clearly outside of main DC continuity. This takes place in a reality where Bruce Wayne or Batman is dead, so clearly that happened prior to Harvey becoming Two-Face, but it's still going to happen. And I hope that they do it in a way where it kind of like stretches out over a couple seasons, and you see the slow decline of Harvey Dent. That would be interesting. So, I don't know, cool to see this moving forward, and cool to see characters that we know and love getting brought to the screen, some for the first time. It's going to be very wild, though. I like all these characters together. It's going to be interesting. Spoiler is the first one, I got to say, that makes sense to me. When I first heard that they were making this show, I was, I wouldn't have been surprised if they said spoiler was going to be in it, but a different version of Robin and Bluebird and things like that. And not the characters I would have suspected, but doesn't mean it can't be a great show.
Yeah, no. We'll see. It seems like, that's one of the more recent that has the hot and heavy casting news flying out the woodwork lately.
For sure. Yeah.
Things that we don't have any casting news on outside of the fact that there's a giant ape and a giant lizard creature kaiju in it. Godzilla vs. Kong sequel will begin filming this year. So
that was a surprise for me when I read that, because we talked about that they're making a Godzilla show for like Apple TV.
Yeah, something like that.
Did we talk about that?
Yep.
So I thought that's just where they were going to go, and they weren't going to bother with another movie. But I mean, Godzilla Kong did some pretty good numbers for them on HBO Max, and I think it made okay money in theaters considering it was released.
Yeah, for pandemic time.
Yeah.
I saw it on HBO Max.
Yeah, me too. I thought it was bonkers fun. I thought it was insane. I thought it was dumb, but I loved it.
Yeah, you want a popcorn movie? There's a popcorn movie.
And it was 90 minutes long.
Right.
Or less. It may have been 87 minutes or something like that. I was like, yes, please sign me up for some dumb, short fun.
Out, turn the brain off for an hour, problem solved.
Yeah. I'm into that Monsterverse franchise. I gotta say, I like a lot of those movies. They're just a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Even if they're not great. Even like Kong Skull Island. Have you seen Kong Skull Island?
Yes, I think.
Yeah. Huge recommendation.
Wait, was that the second one?
I think they've only made one.
Okay.
Like
the Jack Black.
In this continuity. No.
That was the old continuity.
Yeah, the Peter Jackson one.
Right. So no, I have not seen Skull Island.
Yeah, Skull Island is in the new Godzilla continuity, but the cast way better than it needs to be. Brie Larson, Tom Hiddleston.
Yep.
What is the name of the guy? John C. Reilly.
Oh. Wow.
Samuel L. Jackson.
How?
And there's I know. There's other people that I'm forgetting, but like, John Goodman is in it. Like, really good cast. Like, you have Oscar winners in your cast in this dumb popcorn Kong movie. It's just fun. It's just awesome and fun. So I highly recommend Kong Skull Island if you want a super fun action movie.
Yeah, that's got to be on the list now.
Yeah, and they don't drag anything out. It's like, hey, we know why you're here. Here's a giant gorilla. And like, go to town. It's great.
Perfect.
So yeah, looking forward to more of that. This is adjacent to nerddom, more of a horror corner, as I think is what I called it last week when we ended talking about horror movies. Evil Dead Rise, a movie that I'm very excited about. Steve, I know you're into the Evil Dead franchise as well. A new Evil Dead movie has been rated R. Are you shocked that's been rated R for bloody gore and violence?
Never would have guessed.
Never would have guessed. Finally, we received the rating for Evil Dead Rise. Not a surprise. It's being directed by a guy named Lee Cronin, who was handpicked by Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell, who are producers of the movie. They also are the ones that picked Fede Alvarez to do the remake in 2013, I think, which I'm still mad that they haven't made a sequel to that because I loved it. No date yet, but the article that I read said it's going to debut on HBO Max in sometime this year. So
Weird.
I thought it was going to be theatrical. Maybe it will still be theatrical, and they'll just also put it on HBO Max. But I mean, I'd be surprised if it wasn't sometime around Halloween. That seems, like would be a good idea.
You play to your audience on that one.
Yeah, and from what I've read about it, it's going to be a different take. It does not take place in a cabin in the woods. It takes place in a like a high-rise apartment building in Los Angeles. So very different setting for an Evil Dead movie, which I'm fine with. Like, yeah, sure. Give me more. Give me different stuff. I'm down for it.
So how does the Necronomicon end up in the middle of LA? I
don't know. But we'll find out. Or we won't, because it doesn't matter. It just needs to be there. Who cares how it got there? Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited because I just love Evil Dead stuff, and the fact that Raimi and Campbell are still involved, at least in a producer way, makes me really happy and gives me a lot of faith that they're gonna be true to the vibe and tone of the series. So I'm down for more Evil Dead anytime.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And for our final one shot that I'm sure will drag on far beyond a one shot, we, as of next week, will be back on the review train since Mark Spector shows up as Moon Knight, Oscar Isaac shows up as Mark Spector, who also shows up as Jake Lockley, who also shows up as Mr. Knight, who also shows up as Moon Knight on Wednesday.
Yeah. The reviews I've heard have been good, like we were talking about earlier. A couple people that I follow got to go to some kind of premiere where they saw an episode or two, I think, and had nothing but good things to say about it. I'm very excited.
Yeah, it's going to be different, which is, like we talked about, very, very good. I'm looking forward to something that doesn't look like everything else in the MCU. Like I feel like they've done a good job with the TV as far as breaking it apart a little bit.
Yeah.
Like WandaVision was definitely different. Loki definitely you could tell it was in the MCU, but it definitely had a different feel to it. How it was shot and whatnot.
For sure.
Falcon and Winter Soldier was just, it was what you expected. But
yeah, but also I did feel like Falcon Winter. I do agree with the TV stuff in general. For me, Loki is the one that Loki and Hawkeye, I guess, that felt most like other MCU stuff, or looked most like other MCU stuff. Loki specifically because it had more effects, and like we're talking about at the beginning of the show, we're talking about visual effects, like that style, the way that they do their effects is kind of what I associate with as like a Marvel like look, I guess, Yeah. And Falcon Winter Soldier was like, it was a lot of practical stuff, a lot of like real sets. There was not a lot of green screen stuff, or a lot less, I should say, I guess.
It felt a lot like the early MCU, like the OG Iron Man and Thor and Cap and...
Yeah, it makes a big difference when you're shooting on an actual location, on an actual dock with actual water and boats in the background or whatever that they, they're tossing that shield around an actual house in the middle of the woods. Right. Or, like that makes a big difference, and it looks great. I can tell you're really there. You're not just in a green screen studio. Like
same thing with Wanda, even though even though her spells and whatever, they were effects that were being done. It was all, it's shot in an actual, soundstage set. And
but specifically WandaVision was like, we need to make this look like I Love Lucy. We need to make this look like Malcolm in the Middle, which again was like amazing, and they did it so well.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that's out of this world as far as production. I believe, in my opinion, anyway.
So if we can see something off the beaten path.
Yeah, and you say, you hope it doesn't look like other MCU stuff. I hope it doesn't feel like other MCU stuff, because, like I said, the feel of the trailers, like if I didn't know anything about Moon Knight, if I'd never heard of Moon Knight, and you showed me that trailer, I wouldn't immediately have guessed that it was an MCU thing or a Marvel thing.
Oh, absolutely. And I guess if they make a Moon Knight show that feels like the rest of the MCU, it won't be a Moon Knight show.
Sure.
Like his comics, his persona, everything about it is not. It's not what we get out of the rest of the MCU. This should feel like a more supernatural version of the Netflix shows, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I'm honestly, only based on the tone of the trailers, I'm kind of looking at Moon Knight as a way to gauge whether or not I think they could do justice to Daredevil season 4.
Yeah.
Or a new Jessica Jones or Punisher or something like that. Because this is skewing darker, it seems, or more intense. And we'll see, it could just be editing in the trailers that make us feel that way, and we could get through the show and be like, well, okay, it's not what we thought. But who knows? Who knows? We'll know next week, because it comes out Wednesday. Woo! So it's only 6 episodes, I think. That's like seemingly the new standard thing, just 6. And we'll be talking about it next week. We'll have to come up with a clever rhyme. Moon Knight.
We'll workshop it.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. No, not what I just said, though. Not what I just said. But that's all I got, unless you got anything else, Steve.
No, I think that's about it. If you're watching on Twitch, feel free to follow us. We usually go live on Sundays at 9:30. This week is a weird one. We got bumped for the Oscars. Minor thing going on. And then check out themultiverse.com. Follow us on socials. The Multiverse Report, Multiverse RPT on Twitter. Send us an email. Like, subscribe to whatever your podcatcher of choice. Leave us a review. Helps out. Can't go wrong.
Can't go wrong. Well, all right. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And until next time.